No thanks to the internet, we are exposed to vast amounts of fake news every day, but luckily, it's never been easier to verify facts and information in just a few clicks. Today's your lucky day because we are finally debunking some of the most widely held beliefs that don't really hold water. Time to investigate these 10 myths people still believe. What's up, Fact Addicts? This is Discovery Amuse serving up your daily dose of the most outrageous, outlandish, and out-of-this-world fun facts. You probably still think to this day that our number one pick is real, so prepare to be mind-blown by this grand revelation that might just leave you thinking your whole life has been one huge lie.
Trash! My life is a lie! My life is a lie!
Let's get myth-busting. Number 10, the full moon effect. Everyone knows werewolves are fictitious. Wait, what? They are? Huh. But if you ask some healthcare workers and police officers, they probably have stories to tell about some strange encounters during a full moon, especially with the notion that this lunar phase has some kind of impact on human behavior. It has long been believed that the lunar cycle affects our behavior due to the moon's gravitational force affecting the ocean's tides, and since human bodies are 80% made of water, it's only natural to assume that our inner balance is somehow affected by the moon's gravitational force. Well, we're going to shed some moonlight on this myth and tell you that science is yet to provide any direct link between the heavenly body and human behavior. According to experts, the moon's gravitational force is not powerful enough to alter human brain activity. And while it affects open bodies of water, it can't really impact closed bodies of water, like the one inside our body. Also, the gravitational pull during a new moon is just as strong as a full one. But you've never really heard anyone blame the new moon for their quirky behavior, have you? Keep watching because our number one entry will have you either racking your brains or scratching your head. Number 9, hair hoax. Surely you've heard people say that shaving your body hair off makes it grow back thicker and faster. That's why a lot of people avoid shaving like the plague for fear that they might end up looking like an ape. But the truth is, well, there's no truth to this claim.
That is so not true.
What happens is that shaving causes a blunt tip, which eventually comes out and feels coarse or stubbly as it emerges. This also gives the impression that the hair has grown thicker, when it's really not. It might also look darker because it hasn't been exposed to natural or foreign elements yet, like the sun, soap, and other chemicals, which can lighten the strand's color. So, if waxing isn't your thing, then don't fear the razor. Number 8, talk turkey to me. Have you ever found yourself taking a long, sweet nap after eating turkey on Thanksgiving? A lot of people believe that turkey makes them sleepy because it's supposed to have loads of an amino acid called tryptophan that induces sleep. But food scientists have debunked this notion, claiming that there's not really much more tryptophan in turkey than in any other poultry like the average chicken. This amino acid can also be found in red meat, almonds, chocolate, soy, and nuts. The real culprit that makes us all tired and drowsy after Thanksgiving dinner is the copious amounts of carbs and sugar we eat. Binging on these causes our body to basically shut down and ask for a moment of rest so it can digest all the nutrients it just consumed. Number 7, perfect landing. We've always assumed that our feline friends will always land on their feet due to the fascinating aerial acrobatics they perform midair. When cats fall from a certain height, they process the information about balance and motion using their eyes, ears, muscles, and joints. They start adjusting their spine and legs to rotate into the proper position, allowing them to land on all 4 paws. But while this perfect landing happens most of the time, it's not always the case. If they fall from greater heights, there is a genuine risk of injury because their legs might not be able to cope with the shock of the drop. Older, overweight, and less agile cats will also have a more challenging time positioning themselves correctly. A bad fall can end up in a catastrophe for our feline pets as they might sustain broken jaws, damaged bones, or internal injuries to the lungs and bladder. So, When you're having a bad day, for the love of catnip, don't take it out on your fur babies. Number 6. Bullseye. If you've ever seen one of those traditional bullfights, the matadors usually wave a red cloth which infuriates the bull and causes it to attack. We've always thought that the color red is what makes the raging beast #triggered. But I bet you didn't know until now that a bull's eyes lack the red retina receptor, so they can only perceive the colors yellow, green, blue, and violet. To them, red actually looks more like yellowish gray. Essentially, it's not the color that makes the bull angry, but rather the threatening and repeated waving motion of the matador. So why do toreros and matadors use red in the first place? Based on some historical accounts, the costumes and the red capes are tied to the culture and tradition of bullfighting. But another more practical yet darker reason is that in some bullfights, the matador slays the animal and red is much better at concealing the bull's blood. Number 5. To pee or not to pee? Do you remember the Friends episode where Monica got stung by a jellyfish and Joey attempted to save her by urinating on the sting?
Well, forget it. It doesn't hurt that bad.
Blame it on the media for having us believe that peeing can be a first aid for jellyfish attacks when, in fact, urine can actually cause the release of more venom. One possible reason why this myth became so popular is the fact that our pee contains ammonia and urea, which, when used by themselves, may be helpful in alleviating stings. But urine also contains lots of water, which dilutes the ammonia and urea. The sodium in the urine can also aggravate the stingers, causing them to release more toxins, leading to more pain. Experts say you should treat jellyfish stings with seawater and not fresh water. They also advise against rubbing or scratching the injured part. If you can, remove the tentacles with tweezers. Take a hot shower right away and keep a stream of hot water on your skin. And if you experience any severe reactions, rush to the hospital ASAP. Number 4. Hair and nails in the afterlife. Have you ever looked at a deceased loved one's body and wondered why they seem to have longer hair and fingernails? Could it be that hair and nails continue to grow after death? For fingernails to grow, new cells need to be produced, and this only happens with the help of glucose. A similar process occurs with hair, with each strand sitting on a follicle that drives its growth. Obviously, death ends the supply of glucose and energy. Therefore, hair and fingernails do not continue to grow post-mortem. However, they may appear longer because the skin around them has retracted. Dehydration causes the skin and other soft tissues to shrink, resulting in the optical illusion that the hair and fingernails have grown longer. And while we're on the subject, did you know that the growth rate of nails varies from finger to finger, and that the nails in your dominant hand grow faster than the rest? How about that? Number 3. Cancerous tech. People have long speculated that their smartphones could give them cancer, and understandably so, especially with our limited understanding of how radiation works. It's not illogical to believe that since we put our phones near our brains all the time, especially when we make calls, it's bound to cause us some sort of illness, right? But here's the real tea on technology. Based on how radio waves work, cell phones aren't likely to give you cancer. The radiation emitted from our gadgets is significantly different from radiation resulting from, say, a nuclear meltdown, which is ionizing or capable of damaging the DNA and possibly causing cancer. Cell phone radiation is non-ionizing, and for now, there are no definitive studies that prove its link to cancer. So it's probably best not to worry about having your phone so close to your face, especially since we're surrounded by all kinds of signals and radio frequencies all the time anyway. But hey, less screen time is always a good idea. Number 2, beauty rest. We've been taught since we were kids that we need 8 hours of sleep for optimal health and well-being. But while 8 hours might be considered the average, it is not necessarily ideal for every single person. Apparently, sleep is highly dictated by our individual genes, and each body has its own needs. Some can thrive on a few hours of sleep while others need longer. Researchers say that some people have a genetic trait that allows the brain to function well with less than 6 hours of sleep. Also, according to sleep experts, the best option is to let your brain tell you the amount of shut-eye that you need by paying attention to how you feel or how your mood, energy levels, and overall health are affected. If you feel the need to snooze all the time, then you're obviously not getting enough sleep.
It's not rocket surgery, guys. Rocket science. I guess I need a nap. And just remember that getting the right amount of naps is
Absolutely essential because prolonged sleep deprivation can negatively affect a person's health
and lifespan.
Before we go to our number one pick, do us a solid and make sure to smash the subscribe button and hit the notification bell. Don't forget to choose all so you won't miss out on any of our latest life-changing, boredom-busting content. And of course, be sure to turn on notifications in your app settings. Number 1, right-brained or left-brained? They say there are two kinds of people, the left-brained ones who are more logical, analytical, and detail-oriented, and the right-brained peeps who tend to be more creative, perceptive, and intuitive. It's true that the two sides of our brain are responsible for different functions, but the notion that one side is more dominant than the other, as it turns out, is a myth. Recent studies on the brain, which used neuroimaging technology, did not provide any concrete evidence of a right or left dominance. Both hemispheres work together harmoniously. Moreover, logical tasks can also require creativity, while artistic tasks can also be based on logic and reason. This indicates that a divisive, delineated framework for the brain is not only false, but also oversimplistic. Sure, we might have different personalities and cognitive styles, but that doesn't mean one part of our brain is more developed than the other. So, next time someone asks you if you're left or right-brained, just say, it's complicated. Do you know any other myths that didn't make it to this list? Let us know in the comments section below. Take home any of our exclusive gear by browsing our merch shelf or clicking the link in the video description, and while you're at it, take our quiz to find out how you can earn extra cash online doing what you do best. Awesome, right? Hungry for more fact-checking? Then don't miss our countdown of the 9 classified reports the government had to release. Till then, stay analytical and creative, Factnatics, and see you in the next video.